hope his format can carry, so, you know.
I'd love to hear him talk about that if they win, because I'm sure he has something to say about it, but Vitality is going to go for the Sejuani ban first, taking that off the table, and the Draven ban now from Schalke 04. They give the respect to Attila no matter what.
So far this is playing out exactly like in Game 2 when Vitality was on blue side last, so Aatrox, Morgana being the other two bans. I'm curious to see if the Morgana does stick around though, because that to me hints that you really want to prioritize picking up the Rakan. But in Game 2, Schalke banned out Rakan third after seeing that taken off the board, so it's very possible here that Vitality decide not to actually remove that and focus down something else that's, you know, been a problem for them this series.
That's a change, though. They banned the Xayah instead of the Rakan this time around. I suspect that Schalke will still ban Yuumi. I'd be surprised if they give that pick up, because they don't play it, and I don't think they want to see Vitality play it as well. So this means Rakan's going to be open. Jactroll's going to have another engaged champion available to him, and so is IgNar.
Yeah, we weren't that impressed with the Jactroll's Rakan. It's only something he's played 2 times in summer and picked up by the end of it. And in Game 1, it was a bit volatile, but maybe if he cleans up his play, it can work out better for the side of Vitality. And the Sylas is out in the mid lane.
I like removing this here from Abbedagge. Now I'm looking at the Akali here as potential first pick for Vitality. Very strong champion on this patch, and a good option that I think Jiizuke can pilot to good success, especially if he doesn't have to worry about a Sylas in that matchup in the mid lane. You can definitely get a lot done with that pick.
Yeah, but they're going to ban it out, which means we will see something different. I don't think he's going to pull out the Karthus again, but it may, yeah, push us towards a shift for the mid lane picks and pool.
So the Yuumi is open now if Jactroll wanted to do this. Vitality did go for the Yuumi a lot during the regular season. Now, there were some pretty heavy nerfs to it on this patch, even though we saw it paired up with the Garen Yuumi yesterday. It's a champion that has been hit quite hard in terms of the lane pressure you can provide. Scaling damage and CC on that Q has gone down significantly.
Yeah, despite the nerf, it is going to be a lock-in for Jactroll, something he is more comfortable up. And of course, do you think it's going to get paired with something traditional, or are we going to see something wacky out of the bottom lane?
I mean, I would personally like to see either Dilution to me is something I really like to see alongside that Yuumi if you want to play hard through that bottom lane. I expect Vitality to be looking for something like that and to really try and win this matchup over upset.
I was just implying maybe they could go for the Garen, but I know we don't want to.
Oh, I don't want the Garen.
All right, then the Qiyana comes out on the red side for Trick. He's had so much success on it, and the Kaisa would also be a no-brainer for upset. 2 hugely important and strong picks. Some would say a little bit OP for the Qiyana in the jungle moose for Trick.
A little bit of background here. Vitality was also one of the first teams this split to come up with Kaisa Nautilus as a response to a Lucian Yuumi lane, and so it's interesting that Schalke might be piloting that side of the matchup this time around. Oh, there's a good.
Oh, they're actually doing it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Ender. You didn't want to see it, but that's what it's going to be. What does that spell out to you? Or are they going to go for a switcheroo, some flex, and put the Garen top? We've seen how bad that was in Wonder's hands. No offense, Wonder. But it most likely will be going bot.
I mean, whenever we see this pick, it's always you must focus on the bottom lane. If you're playing against Garen Yuumi, it seems like you actually have to attack this a lot during the early laning phase. That means stronger mid lane champions you can have roam first. That means a strong ganking jungler like a Gragas. If you want to chuck a Garen away from his tower, especially post level 6, this does give you the ability to try and play around that lane.
Yeah, what did we do yesterday? What we saw yesterday from Rogue though is also when Larson was on the Corki and the Garen Yuumi were in the bottom lane. He used that mobility he has on that champion to put pressure on that bottom lane as well. So we know that this is a good setup for it. Do you think they're going to pair something with it that is quite tanky, that can sustain, that Yuumi could jump onto in a team fight or a prolonged team fight?
I think the best champions that Yuumi wants to be on are frontliners, especially when you look mid to late game. So if they did want to have someone that could dive into the backlines, that's always going to be a good look for you. A lot of those champions did get removed. Akali gone, Sejuani gone. Now even the double top lane bans here for Cabochard, just to remove these strong laning options that Vitality had. I still think there's choices for them to go for, but ultimately this is going to be a game where a lot of the damage is going to come from Jiizuke and then actually Jactroll on this Yuumi.
Yeah, there's still a lot of options on the table. We are looking at Cabochard. I think he was the big carry for Vitality in that Game 3. So he has quite a big champion pool. I don't think he'll be in trouble, but it's all about what will fit in the composition. The next pick is going over to Upset. We're still missing a mid laner and a support if that Gragas isn't going for support. And there we have it, Rakan and Kaisa.
So Qiyana mid lane, Gragas jungle. We see our bot lane now. This is interesting because it keeps to Schalke's basically playbook. They want to play heavily for mid lane this time around, especially for the 2v2 at level 6. And if not that, then they're going to go for bot lane dives as much as possible.
Next pick rather coming up.
This is the interesting question that
yeah.
Vitality has to answer, is what the top lane pick is going to be over the Jayce.
Yeah, I think the Jayce makes a lot of sense here because this team right now lacks physical damage. If you consider Garen in the bot lane, not going to be doing a whole lot. Corki in mid, primarily magical. So they would have either had to go for something like a Gnar, perhaps, if they wanted a bit of a team fight initiation. But a Jayce, Corki, Yuumi is insane poke. If this team gets a lead, if this team ever gets a Baron, it becomes very hard to defend if you are Schalke.
And Skarner will go in the jungle for Mowgli. We haven't seen that from him in summer, so
I mean, I in theory like this. You know, you take a level 6 jungler to sort of match that of the Gragas. Yuumi, you mentioned champions to go all in. You can hover the Pantheon, but you can't pick it, IgNar.
So if people aren't aware, Pantheon is disabled for the playoffs, and IgNar doesn't agree. So there we go.
So I think onus on this game heavily on Schalke to make plays early on, especially at level 6. Their mid 2v2 has to be able to make plays, because Skarner also level 6 is going to be able to make plays. The longer this game goes, Yuumi on Skarner or Garen, etc., they're going to have a lot of catch potential.
Yeah, I also think it's important that Odoamne doesn't get bullied out of top lane and is forced to use his TP early on, because if we're looking at a play around bot lane at level 6, he needs to have the TP up so he can try to help out and shut this 2v2 down.
From what we've seen from Vitality in the games leading up to this, they're not afraid to fight. They never are, and they're not afraid to put some pressure on the enemy team early. What will be their job in the first 10 minutes with this composition?
I think you have to set up and make sure this 2v2 does not get punished down on the bottom side of the map. I don't think Mowgli needs to feel any pressure to force plays himself, but just track, trick, play a control style, something that we don't usually think of when you think Mowgli. Play control style jungle, get your team into the mid game 2 items where you really come online.
All right, we go to coaches, shake hands, and it is still up to Vitality to crawl their way back into the series and make the reverse sweep happen. We've seen the picks and bans. We'll see if Schalke can close it out here, or if Vitality brings us to game 5. Let's head over to our casters.
Thank you very much, Shocks. One game between Schalke and a date with Rogue next week. 2 games between Vitality and the same fate. Both teams fighting for their world's lives as well. If you are eliminated here, you do not have a chance of making it to the 2019 World Championships. Everything on the line, and we are on to Summoner's Rift for a fourth game of the day.
I want to talk about some of the mental here and taking a Garen Yuumi. We had questions at the very top of the day if we were going to see Garen Yuumi define the drafts like we saw it happen with Rogue and Splice. But because it came out in Game 4, what's interesting is that if this does go to Game 5, now there's all these questions for Schalke. Do you have to respect the Garen Yuumi? Do Vitality then go back and try to play their jungle smite game? The multiple looks that we've given from Vitality makes them actually really dangerous in trying to draft against if they are able to win here and push us all the way towards Silver Scrapes.
We'll see if they can do it at the moment. Jactroll just taking all the extra little bit of poke that he can, building up those spell thieves stacks.
And I just want to echo the sentiment from the analyst Asmus and Ender there, and talking about the poke potential that comes out of Vitality as this composition scales over time. Now, the window that Moose brought up was for Schalke to look for a potential dive on the bot lane, and I think that they have the tools to do that with someone like a Qiyana, but it's a very narrow window, because as soon as you hit tick over to minute 8, Corki has access to the package. If you're not tracking those cooldowns of the teleports, then Vitality have all of these tools to counteract any type of cross-map bot lane play that Schalke could do. So can they find their window? Can they look for the dive lane? Can they punish Garen Yuumi? Or will Vitality get to outscale Schalke and get this poke composition online?
Schalke historically have been a team that tends to play a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical. Here they need to keep that pace of the game up. Abbedagge has Ignite in the middle lane. He's taking the wrong side of a trade here with Jiizuke early on, but we'll see how effective that Qiyana can be, not coming out of the jungle, but instead being played in mid.
Do want to point out the jungle pathing. It was trick starting towards the top side. Now, usually you can see Gragas go either Raptor Red into early Krug and then a full reset. He was spotted out by the ward on the Raptor camp and is now looking to cross for his blue. Maybe he's afraid that with the priority that Jiizuke has, that Mowgli could actually contest him for his bot side camps, and he doesn't want to get a potential 3 buff.
Look at how many of those minions Abbedagge is actually being kept away from, though. He's only just hit 3 CS, now onto 4, but Jiizuke already an entire wave ahead of his mid lane counterpart.
But what Trick's pathing tells me is that there's not going to be a lot of attention giving to Odo. Because he didn't take an early Krug camp clear, it means that Krugs won't respawn between 4 to 5 minutes, which means there's not a lot of value for Trick to be up there to offer a gank towards the top side, which is usually when junglers look for that on second rotation of Krug camp. So, as per usual, Odo, I'm sorry, mate, you're probably on an island.
Left alone, as usual in Schalke games. Trick here, maybe looking down towards the bottom lane. We talk about it so often, you have to shut the Garen Yuumi down early on, and they're pushed up. Maybe thinking that they're safe, but Trick is waiting in this bush. Schalke going in, IgNar looking for the engage, maybe overstep just a little bit. Trick has the body slam, will land it onto Attila, but that courage will keep the Garen safe. They take a trade. Attila forced back, but no summoners burnt there from Jactroll or Attila.
They do manage to get a pot out of Attila, but because he is running the Relic Shield into double pot, it's not as effective as if he was running a traditional marksman that would only have access to a single pot. So if Trick wants to make this stick, he might have to repeat gank here.
You got to just keep going over and over again if you ever want to shut down a Garen lane. Cabochard aggressively trading here onto Odo. He has had his enemy top laner's number this entire game. Now Jiizuke maybe overstepped. Abbedagge jumping in with the root. Valkyrie up here, but Jiizuke is ticking down with the Ignite. Trick on his way. Jiizuke still has the flash in from Trick, but now look at the damage coming down onto Abbedagge. He's got to try and dodge away. He's still got the flash. He uses the stealth, doesn't even burn. The flash eventually goes away. Odo chasing onto Jiizuke, and with the boomerang, he'll get first blood. Mowgli's forced down towards the bottom side of this fight. He still has his flash, though, but Cabochard's coming down to join the fight, and Mowgli maybe looking for the fracture. The stun comes out. Odo, of course, flashless, lifeless, and Vitality answer back.
Odo may not have his team helping him out, but he will play for the team. He makes the rotation down. He's able to pick up the first blood in favor for Schalke, but loses his life in the end.
I mean, the big thing there, though, is you're losing CS in the mid lane as Abbedagge without teleport, not getting the kill. Actually forced quite far behind in terms of experience and in terms of CS. We'll see this trade once again as Abbedagge goes in.
And I frankly think that Trick is a bit greedy here with the flash. He's just used the belly bop, so he doesn't have the cooldown, because obviously normally with the Gragas, you want the belly bop flash to make sure that you connect with that CC. So this is multiple flashes being expended to try to get Jiizuke.
Now Odo, Cabo still has flash, knocked back, the trade continues, looking to get underneath the tower. One more auto from Odo would be enough, but he can't quite get there in time. Attila trading onto upset, and they get the 2v2 kill! Garen, Yuumi, and Jactroll!
Give him the book!
Slams the book in his face there. IgNar stays around to clear out the wave, but that is unexpected from the Vitality bottom lane.
Yeah, I don't know why Attila and Jactroll still have this reputation that they constantly lose 2v2s. They've been actually pretty solid since week number 5. Yeah, it started out pretty sketch in Summer Split. I'll hold the thought, though, because maybe spoke too soon.
So Abbedagge doesn't have 6. Doesn't have flash.
They don't have a wave. I think he's just...
Doesn't have a wave.
He's just burning time here.
Doesn't have Ignite.
Back to complimenting Attila and Jactroll. They are not the pushovers that we constantly think about them. They can find these 2v2 kills. And in here, it's just Upset and IgNar not respecting the potential poke damage, as well as the double combat summoners that come out of a Yuumi lane.
Yep, just a little bit greedy there from Upset, staying around, and
Yeah, give him the dance.
Jactroll gives him the dance.
I don't know if it's a dance or laugh.
It's one of them, and that's all that really matters. However you can BM.
Give him the
you get
wiggle.
A kill on Garen. You definitely gave him a wiggle first. Jiizuke now level 6 will be looking towards making some of those plays down towards the bottom lane. Already they are ahead in terms of damage and kills. They have a 2,000 gold lead, and now Trick perhaps looking down towards the bottom lane. We talked about how he'd have to repeat gank. There's no sums left for the Vitality bot lane, but very hard for Trick to get in there. Mowgli on the top side of the map is helping Jiizuke force Abbedagge away, and perhaps even look for a gank towards top, because there's a 20 CS differential in that top lane. Cabochard is really taking Odoamne to the cleaners.
You don't necessarily need to gank it, and it's dangerous against a Gnar, just because A form with Mega Gnar, there's a lot of CC. I'll hold it though, Jiizuke.
Abbedagge trading in. Mowgli's on his way, still has the flash, has the smite. Here comes Trick. Jiizuke bopped up. Trick looking for the damage. Mowgli turns around onto Trick, and Trick doesn't have it just in time. Gets the damage out. Abbedagge looking for the root, but can't quite land it. And now Mowgli's 6. Abbedagge has to try and knock him away, but he doesn't land the stun. Mowgli still has the flash. Flash! Chase! Put the stinger in his back and look for the kill, but he can't land a fracture. Abbedagge dodged away from it and able to escape for the moment. Mowgli just needs one more auto. He's ignited. Mowgli, you dive too deep! That was greedy!
It was on the edge of a mechanical mishap there. Not hitting the skill shot with the Skarner means that Abbedagge gets to walk it out, and then Mowgli over chases. But Mowgli looked a little bit confused in that skirmish to begin with. He started chasing Abbedagge, he turned too late to Jiizuke. Think of how much cleaner this could have been if he actually just stood strong with his mid lane from the beginning here. So Mowgli comes in, Abbedagge's been zoned from the fight, and look at Mowgli. He's like eyes on Abbedagge. He takes just a couple of clicks too far, eventually does turn around, does clean up the kill with Trick. He's like, okay, it's fine. He got level 6 off the Gragas kill. He can use the Impale. He can go the distance. And then disaster strikes.
Yeah, gets the Impale down, but then just misses the fracture. You hit that, you probably get the kill, gets the smite down. Abbedagge does a really good job of dodging around this as much as he can, puts the ignite down, and Mowgli's like, oops. Well, Vitality were in a commanding position. Mowgli's actually going to chase out Trick here. Trick's still not level 6. Mowgli has total control of this topside jungle because of the pressure that Cabochard puts down. About 1,000 gold lead here for Vitality early on, and we talked about how their composition only gets stronger with time. Garen, Yuumi, Corki, Jayce, so much damage when we get towards the 20-25 minute mark. Schalke really need to pick up the pace if they're going to win this game.
They really need to get Trick to level 6. He's put himself on a back foot here in terms of experience because he has given so much to his lanes. Should get it pretty soon off of a couple of these camps, though.
He needs to get there pretty quickly. Abbedagge has actually gone for the mobility boots in the mid lane. He's going to be trying to roam around and help out his team as much as possible, but with Jiizuke continuing to force him back, it's going to be quite hard. Look at the damage down onto IgNar. He jumps away. Upset has hit level 6. Attila and Jactroll still yet to ping across towards that level 6 mark, but they'll be very happy with how this laning phase has gone so far. Perhaps a little bit behind in terms of CS, but you add on how much Jactroll's picked up, and it's about even in that bottom lane.
Yeah, and again, to echo the analyst desk, it's about getting Garen and Yuumi out of the lane phase into that scaling potential where Garen's basically like the delivery service for Yuumi. He's the unkillable carpool that she needs.
Put her in the back seat and let her just rat-a-tat-tat machine gun out the damage with the prowling projectile. I think the question becomes, we haven't seen a huge amount of Yuumi on 916. Will she'll still have as much impact in the late game when she builds up AP as she had in the past? I think the answer is probably yes.
I mean, Rogue, I think, proved that that was yes, definitely. And I feel like on 916, Garen and Yuumi have become the old Sonateric. Sonateric so many patches ago, and now it's...
You can tell that to Team Liquid.
Well... We don't talk about LCS here.
Unless we're talking about mid lane.
Treat them with respect.
Okay.
You
got nothing to say?
You could put me... I have... If you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all, Medic.
Yes, Mom. Vitality going to start up the Rift Herald here as Schalke don't have any control of this top side of the map. It's all of Vitality's. They brought up the Garen Yuumi to try and just get a little bit more pressure, but you can see Schalke have to be so tentative approaching this, and the rest of them are coming up to try and help this out, but Vitality were here first and will get the Rift Herald without really too much contest.
And unfortunately, Schalke aren't trading anything at all. They're taking the team fight. They have to win this.
IgNar goes in with a charm. They only catch out Mowgli. Vitality continuing to trade in. Upset is here in time. Jumps in with a killer instinct. They're knocked back onto Attila, but he's going to spin to win his way away. Abbedagge looking for some more damage, but Cabochard on his way down. Now Odo trying to build up that Gnar. Catches out Attila, slows him up, but it's too easy for Vitality to escape.
And obviously, you want to win every single fight that you approach here, but it was especially important for Schalke to win that fight because they weren't in a position anywhere else on the map to trade something for the time that Vitality had used to take the Rift Herald. They didn't get plates. They didn't pick up waves. They didn't even get the dragon. It was literally walking there, praying that the team fight would work. And because Vitality successfully disengaged, that was a huge waste of Schalke's time, and they are falling very far behind in gold this early on.
I think it kind of portrays the understanding that Schalke had and that we had on the analyst desk when we discussed the game earlier, that they need to get ahead early on, that they need to find picks, they need to find catches, because otherwise they are just going to get outscaled and out-poked really by this Vitality lineup. Schalke may be a little bit desperate to make those plays. Now IgNar trying to catch out Mowgli. Upset here as well. The knockup will land. Mowgli's going to try and escape, but there's not really many places for him to go, and Schalke do find a pretty effective pick.
And it's always going to be worthwhile playing around the Qiyana CC, especially when you use the Rakan CC in tandem with that. So I like that Schalke recognize one of the areas on the map that they can execute on, now looking for a dive.
This is a dangerous dive, though. I think they're just trying to force Jiizuke away because they don't have quickness, they don't have the Qiyana ultimate either. It would have been very hard to lock up something like a Corki who has Valkyrie. They force him away, he loses about half away.
But they don't get another run at that play because the reason why they had it is they had an inside track for IgNar to make the roam, but IgNar now needs to respond back to his bot lane, and Vitality have moved Jactroll and Attila.
Yeah. But
Hello.
Cabochard's dead. So that's super interesting. Like, Cabochard was coming across.
Is it because he just walked down the lane and
Yeah,
died?
but it's like you have vision. It just felt a little bit greedy from Cabochard to be staying around there. We'll see if we do catch a replay of that one to see exactly what went down. Jiizuke hit. Oh, IgNar tried to flash in with the quickness, couldn't quite land it. Teleport coming in here from Upset as they go for a little bit more of the fight, but couldn't find any connections, and Jiizuke uses his flash to get away. Does give Odoamne a little bit of free time with this tower up in the top lane. Cabochard has teleport. He's going to use it to a minion, and Odoamne is like, okay, I'm out of here, but Mowgli's on the chase, on the prowl. The Scorpion is on his way. Has the Impale. There's the smite for the slow, and they pull back Odo. Didn't want to flash. Odo knocked back and really just locked in place. Not much he can do. Vitality will get another kill, or a first kill, on towards Cabochard.
Yeah, but Odo had flash. Just flashing.
Didn't want to. Did not want to. Let's have a look at what Cabochard does here. So here's the thing, right? If we look up towards River, Cabochard has vision on the Gragas, right? He knows that Trick is around here.
I think the idea was Vitality were actually trying to play for the Rift Herald by funneling all of the people mid. Because if they have numbers advantage mid lane, and if Skarner waddles over there and places the Herald, then maybe you get good damage on that mid lane tower. But because Cabochard was picked off warding, it now transitions to this play where Vitality used the Herald top.
Okay, so double TP's coming in here from Vitality. They've used the Herald. IgNar and Abbedagge is like, okay, I'm out of here, because Attila and Jactroll are here to join the fight. Rift Herald's fallen. The tower's almost gone down as well. It's like 2 auto attacks away from dead. Odoamne is going to leap away. And it's Vitality who make the play, but the tower's still surviving. Trick going in. Final chapter popped here. Cabochard has Jactroll on him. Abbedagge trying to jump up towards the backline. Cabochard ticking down with the ignite. Mowgli will be the first to fall. He's still alive for the moment. He runs towards the backside of the fight. Now Jactroll caught out with the wallop. Mowgli ignited once again. Attila pulls down Demacian Justice, but it's not enough to take down Trick. And Vitality will lose 3 here. You have to feel maybe even 4. Cabochard goes down to Upset, who got behind the towers. 4 kills down. Schalke find a perfect fight in the top lane.
And it was a 4v4, 4v5 at the very end as soon as Upset joined it, but Schalke are able to turn that play around, and the tower is still standing. A stiff breeze would push over that top tower for Vitality, but again, they greeted. They tried to go for the trades. No one was focusing on shoving down the objective, so they lose their lives, lose a lot of the gold power that they had, as it's a completely even game now where Vitality did have a 1.5k advantage.
And Abbedagge is sitting at 5-0-4 on that Qiyana. The assassin potential is well and truly there. Let's have another look at this. As you can see, it's such a messy engage from both teams.
I think the issue is that the Yuumi ultimate was used on non-squishy targets. You basically hit 2 tanks, so the CC did delay the engage from Schalke, but it didn't help you set up any kills, so we're right back in it.
Yeah, Odoamne stepped up way too far here. Doesn't have the flash, going to try and jump towards the bottom side of the fight, but Jiizuke's on the chase. Gnar into the wall. Odo maybe looking for the leap across here. Still being chased out. One more auto would be enough. Jactroll just snipes him from the side.
But this time around, there is a response from Schalke, and it's happening on the bottom side of the map. It's the dragon that's being taken down by Trick, and it's this tower that's being taken down by Abbedagge. So Schalke in a much better position to respond to Vitality's aggression this time around.
And that's what they need to be doing. They need to find more fights like that one in the top lane if they're going to continue their playoff hopes here. 2-1 at the moment for Schalke in this series, but Vitality have looked a much different team than their first 2 games, you have to feel. They've come back fighting in this series.
But we've taken virtually every outer tower save for those mid ones. So now it's about how do we start attacking this mid game. We'll hold it as we look at the replay.
I think it's just Odo being greedy, right? Like, you don't need to be pushing for that tower. Everyone else is left, and you know there are teleports on the side of Vitality. So as soon as Mowgli gets here, Odo's pretty much doomed.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair. We'll watch it play out anyway.
Jactroll's like me in my ranked games. Just takes the kill at the end. It's like, you've done all the work, I'm just going to take that one away from you.
As long as he then gets into all chat, he's like, all me.
Yeah. Better jungler wins.
But talking about how we are on an open map right now, you're in a position for Schalke where your Qiyana is now 5-0-4. Now, Schalke have been in this position before where they have a high mobility assassin target who gets very fed. And now I want to see Schalke actually double down and use it correctly. Put Abba into the side lanes, leverage the pressure and the kill that he can create, and then either play 1-4 and constantly bounce down to him, or stack him as 5 and fight in the river over a big monster objective like the dragon that will be spawning in 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
So in the past, when we've seen Schalke like play around Abba being big, he's had teleport. Here he's got the ignite. How much does that actually change the Schalke game plan?
It means that as soon as the Baron is relevant, obviously you can't play the bot side of the map as the Qiyana, but it also means that his kill pressure on the side lane is that much stronger. So we have a bit of a setup here.
Yeah, you can see how safe Cabochard's playing. He's underneath the tower. He realizes that you can't see any of Schalke. He's like, okay, I'm not going anywhere at the moment, but Schalke are going to invest into this dive. The quickness comes up. Cabo gets the knockback with an arm into the wall, and the CC chain is good. Schalke set it up perfectly. They get the kill, but meanwhile, what are they losing in the mid lane? Only Upset here to defend, and the rest of Vitality are just going to push in.
Yeah, the concern was that Cabo was able to trim the wave enough that there wasn't a lot for Schalke to work with as soon as they did pick up the kill. And not only that, they used key ultimates like the Rakan ultimate to pick it up there. So it is a win cross-map, in my opinion, for Vitality in terms of taking down that mid tower. Gives you so much more access into placing deep wards into either side of the jungle and setting up for monster objectives.
I guess the benefit for Schalke is that Odo gets a little bit more time to farm himself up on this Gnar. He's only got the Black Cleaver so far. You got Manamune stacking up on Upset. Let's have a look on the other side of the map. Attila. He's got a Phage, he's got a Ruby, Kindle Jam, he gets towards his Black Cleaver. You've got a Trinity Force on Jiizuke, and he's got a little bit of armor underneath his belt with the Chain Vest. So trying to be a little bit more defensive against what is, at the moment, predominantly a physical damage Schalke.
I want to pay attention to what IgNar is doing, however. He's going really deep and clearing out this jungle, as well as placing down a massive safety net of vision underneath the Qiyana. So again, we're starting to play around Abba for Schalke in one of these side lanes. Hopefully Upset doesn't die. I think he's being dove.
Yes, right now, he manages to survive.
But in this situation where you're waiting on your one to take advantage, Vitality then recognize, okay, we can't deal with Qiyana unless we put multiple members into her. So what we try to do instead is we run face first and try to see if we can catch out the other unit of Schalke on the map. So good job from Upset to disengage and not burn his flash. But this is what Vitality will be looking for every single time that happens is Zoom Cat on the Scorpion, Scorpion Cat, and they'll just zip at you.
It's how you play against people who play through 1-3-1. What beats 1-3-1? Team fight and hard engage. Go all in. Usually you look at things like a Sejuani or a Gragas who can catch out people and make for a big play. Here, Mowgli and Attila. They're the ones that should be running at the enemy, and Jactroll is just along for the ride. Has himself an Athene's Unholy Grail, building up a little bit more AEP just to try and get as much magic damage out of the cat as possible. As we get towards the 20-minute mark, you say the major objective is the Mountain Drake, and then alongside that, the Nasher coming up. You have to expect both these teams to try and start setting up some vision control around it and looking to see, we're looking to see exactly how Schalke is set up, because we always talk about Abbedagge being big and you playing around him in the side lane, but they haven't actually done that as much as I would like.
We are still waiting for a couple of item breakpoints. We talk about this all the time, but it's usually why you see teams slow down a little bit, because you don't want to try to force a fight when you're so close to key items. The key item that we were waiting for has now just come in. It is that Rage Blade for Upset. So as soon as he has positioning back into the mid lane, they force that through. Now they'll feel confident approaching this dragon and looking for more of these 5v5 fights.
Maybe looking to force it as they know Jiizuke is off towards the top side of the map.
They have to, because Odo's that much closer to Gnar.
Odo building up that Gnar bar. Attila and Mowgli off towards the top side. Cabochard and Jiizuke going to join this fight. Abbedagge able to escape for the moment. It was a QSS burnt, I believe.
The extra gold that Abba's been able to pick up means that he has 2 kill items in the Ghost Blade as well as the Dust Blade, and then access to the QSS.
Abbedagge's behind them here. He's on a control ward. Vitality may be flanked. IgNar going in, catches out one. Upset jumps forward as well, and it's Mowgli the target. And now Abbedagge going in, looking for Attila, knocks him into the wall. Jactroll there, along for the fight at the moment as Jiizuke gets onto the backline. Trick has to jump away with the body slam. The chase continues, and this is where Vitality start to thrive. They can just continue to poke, continue to chase down Schalke, but Trick is off towards the side, going in, misses Cabochard, goes golden. Oh, Cabo with a perfect flash away from the Gnar. Almost got locked into the wall, and now Attila going in. Demacian Justice strikes down Trick where he stands, but Cabochard will fall and Jactroll will follow shortly after. Vitality 2-man strong as Schalke continue to look for these fights, but the poke from Jiizuke could be impactful.
Corki is such a disgusting champion. He's actually going to possibly dissuade this. I think the numbers advantage means that Schalke will brute force this, but if this is something like a Baron, Corki can actually stall and hold off teams from taking things like the Baron because of how much damage his rockets do.
Game still finally in the balance at the 22-minute mark. There's only 100 gold between these two teams. You can see if fights extend, if Schalke can't find that pick at the start, Vitality can come out on top.
I think one of the issues, though, is in the initial setup for Vitality here, that they're setting up like they have a big 5v5 comp instead of a poke composition. Vitality should actually just sit back and wait for that damage that Jiizuke is doing there before they start to 5-man stack and look for a big fight. And you are right. Usually the longer fights go on for, the higher the percentage chance that Vitality will win it, because they'll get off multiple rotations of pick. The problem is that Trick makes an incredible play for Schalke, gets behind Vitality, splits them apart, and allows Schalke to actually get the hard engage on this poke range composition.
And now Schalke are playing up towards that Baron. Mowgli maybe not realizing Abbedagge is there, he's locked out, and that could be the pick that changes this series. Schalke looking for it, they continue to go in. Odo's going to lock Attila into the wall. Final chapter used by Jactroll, teleport coming out from the rest of, from Cabochard. Schalke going to turn towards the Baron, but you can't do it with Jiizuke still alive.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Because it's the Jayce and the Yuumi and the Corki, even though Schalke have the jungler advantage, they cannot approach that Baron, because if you just funnel in, it's fish in a barrel, and Vitality will just continue to take pop shots.
So Abbedagge is looking for a flank here. The Dustblade helping him out, showing him that he's on a ward. He's going to jump across the wall here. Attila still on the chase. Prowling projectile. Just short. Doesn't land the slow, and Vitality back away because of it.
So the big thing that I want to look at for the next big team fight, if you're a Schalke fan, is that you're missing a lot of key flashes on Odo, Upset, and IgNar. And we've seen from these team fights, because of the amount of poke damage that Vitality have, if Schalke want to get a hold of this Baron, they need to make sure that virtually everyone on Vitality is dead, because these champions' ability to stall out a Baron is exceptionally high. Without access to those flashes, it becomes increasingly hard to engage correctly on Vitality's composition. Now, Vitality then also need to play it correctly. They can't ARAM, get caught out like this. They need to stay back and let the poke work for them.
It does feel like we're getting to that point in the game where Vitality are online enough, right? They're 1.5, 2 items, and it becomes incredibly hard for Schalke to take fights because they don't have a substantial lead. They only have Abbedagge, really, who's fed, and if he's not making a couple of picks early on, if he's not taking out Jiizuke and Cabochard, it becomes very easy for Vitality to just re-engage and poke you out.
I would also love to see Schalke decide not to look for the hard engage until the flashes are back up on guys like IgNar and Odo, and instead to actually play the side lane. Now, they can either do this by saying, okay, we'll just play side lane for farm, we'll just try to get more damage onto our carries. If it's a 5v5, we have trust in our members that we're the better team fighting team, or they could try to use this to leverage different pressure points around the map and start chipping away at some of these inner towers on top of bot.
But I do think we've seen throughout this series that Schalke do not have total faith in Abbedagge in a side lane, because whenever they put him there, they then bring him back to the team very quickly, or he cheats towards the team very quickly. And maybe it's because he's still in his rookie year, and maybe it's because he doesn't have a huge amount of experience in this sort of 1-3-1, but it is a weakness from Schalke.
And it also doesn't help when he doesn't have access to the TP, which means he can only theoretically play that top side of the map as long as Baron is in play. And it's not just Abba, it's also Odo.
Yeah.
You know, so many times Schalke will pull their side lanes to be that big team fighting 5v5 team. So you can see stylistically how interesting it is when a team like Vitality meets a team like Schalke, and why Schalke are also a poor stylistic matchup for our big two in Fnatic and G2, who are so comfortable playing those side lanes and ripping Schalke apart at the seams.
Has been a series of back and forth of Schalke taking an incredible early lead, you know, going up 2-0, and Vitality continuing to fight back, and now Vitality feel like they're in control of this game, feel like they're setting the pace. They're keeping Schalke pinned back, and part of that is Schalke being a little bit tentative, a little bit timid. Part of that is Vitality playing their composition well to this point, and now looking for when it comes online.
I mean, frankly, there was a window where Vitality weren't playing with their teleports. 2 TPs on Attila and Jiizuke are about to come back up, but they've had TP on Odo the entire time.
Jiizuke uses the package to get away. Doesn't really care too much about that. It's a all-out brawl in the mid lane as both teams just very, very scared about playing around that Baron. Now Attila's going in the final chapter. Hasn't connected enough to root. I believe it only hit twice there. Odo has a flank position. Abbedagge coming in from the side as well, but it's IgNar who's caught out by Cabochard. He goes in with a charm. Abbedagge's going to root him in place for the moment. Mowgli chasing in, but there's a QSS on Upset, IgNar, and Abbedagge. It makes it very hard for Mowgli to pick his target in these fights.
But it's the supports who have the key ultimates down, so Rakan, no access to his ultimate. Yuumi, no access to hers, and a very deep flank being set up by Abba.
He can't get in position for it. That control ward in the bush makes it very hard for him. Now Odo is up towards Gnar. Trick down towards the bottom side. He goes gold, and Vitality have the inward path on this, but Abbedagge is looking for it. They catch out only Attila. Oh, Jactroll stunned up as well, and here comes Abbedagge looking for the supreme display of talent. They land the stun. Jiizuke falls to Upset, who dives onto the back line, and now it's all on Cabochard. He has to do something. He has to turn this fight around. Jactroll trying to get there in time. He's being fought off by Odo. IgNar just about survives, but Cabochard takes down one. Upset's picked up a triple, and the Void Seeker will find its mark. One more shot, one more auto will be enough to dent Vitality's hopes of winning this finals. But can Cabochard get away? He changes form. The boomerang is just short. He gets through the acceleration gate, and perhaps Cabo can survive. Upset's still on the chase. He won't let his man out of this alive. And Cabo has nowhere to go. In the end, Upset will find his mark. Shut down, and Schalke win out.
And Schalke brute forced the fight there. It was Odo who said, I have had enough of this. His team got caught out in the jungle, but he forces it with the Gnar. Now that said, because of how long Cabochard survived, because of the damage that Cabo did before he finally went down, it does stall out the Baron. So Vitality lived to fight another day on a composition that, again, scales so exceptionally well. But you don't want to fight in the jungle like this against the likes of a Gnar and a Qiyana. The key rule of Gnar is when he's in Gnar form, don't fight him. Just wait out the timer. But Vitality, they can't help themselves.
Jactroll just caught out at the start of that fight as well. You can see Upset here chases Mowgli. Perhaps a little bit greedy, looking for the jungle kill. It gives Cabochard the time to get this damage down onto IgNar and Abbedagge. And it means that this chase continues for a very long time. As you say, because it went on so long, Schalke really didn't get too much out of it. They still only have about 1,000 gold lead. Another Mountain Drake is great for them. It makes taking the Baron a lot easier. But the question still remains, can they actually take full-on fights versus Vitality as Vitality continue to scale through the game?
It also will help them push down this mid tower, which is definitely a thorn in their side in terms of getting access away from this mid lane and securing the mid lane priority there. Feels like a trap's about to be set up.
Teleport coming in, IgNar trying to get on towards that backline, but the rest of Schalke aren't here. Kenner instinct in from Upset, he's trying to take out Cabochard, but he gets out with the GA, and now Upset on the backline, chased away by Attila. Cabochard gets onto Abbedagge, pushed back with the Qiyana ultimate. One down already, and Schalke maybe just turn their eyes straight towards the Baron. They can pull Vitality in, but we talked about it before. That Corki can do immense work if allowed to rain hell upon Schalke.
And reminder that Cabo still has access to his TP.
Oh, Jiizuke with a perfect Valkyrie. IgNar going in, trying to catch him. Schalke realize they cannot just do this straight away.
Okay, so they're going to force onto the Baron. I like the fact that they're actually splitting up the members, letting that double mountain do work for them. There's the TP from Cabochard. He's now full health. The poke should approach.
Trick has no HP. Odoamne caught out with the Impale. The Baron already going down, and Schalke able to sneak it away. Vitality, Jiizuke flashing forward, looking for IgNar. Maybe looking for the flank here. Cabochard facing up against Abbedagge, but he's now in a 2v1, and it's not the best of shapes for the top laner from Vitality. He's already done. Jiizuke fighting up towards the top side. He's trying to take down IgNar. He'll take one. Attila spinning in. Trick there in front of him. Abbedagge and Upset jumping forward. Odo almost with the Gnar. It's a double for Jiizuke, but Odo now finds his man. It's only Mowgli that he catches out. Upset getting onto the back line. Jiizuke shut down. It's Jactroll that takes down Odo, but Jactroll will fall. Upset goes godlike, and in the end, Upset's going to keep going in. He chases onto Mowgli. One more auto's enough. Attila will run away, but Schalke take 4, lose 3, and get the Baron.
And in the end, it's Upset who plants his feet. Now 9-1 and 6 on this Kaisa. It was the extended team fight. Schalke were able to win it. Very messy team fight. A lot of different layers to it. But in the end, it is the Baron. Multiple Barons escaping for Schalke, as well as that mid tower.
They open up that mid tower. They'll take down top as well. Abbedagge having that Baron left up on him is so important for Schalke. A 4,000 gold lead. And these fights, although messy, both teams are playing on a knife's edge.
But you understand why Vitality look for a play like this. They recognize that if they just let this Baron go, that this could be the end for them. So they decide to try to pick up as many Barons as possible. And Jiizuke is so strong at this point of the game.
And you can see, like, Schalke gets separated a little bit. Odo only catches out Mowgli. Upset realizes he can try and get onto that back line. And it's just one by one that Vitality end up falling. Upset even just deciding to dive in at the end. Attila's able to run away. Now let's go back into this picture, because Abbedagge is being caught out just a little. Trick going in with the bop onto Mowgli, knocks him back, and Abbedagge is taking out Mowgli down towards the bottom side of this. Jiizuke is dead as well, and that is the shot that Schalke wanted.
It was Trick who basically ended the team fight on the top side, and it was IgNar and Upset who ended the team fight on the bottom side. Really well executed from multiple points of Schalke there.
It has been a messy, messy series, full of skirmishes, full of team fights, but Schalke look like they are within reaching distance of the second round of playoffs, within reaching distance of a matchup versus Rogue. And Vitality look like they might be falling out of world's contention here. Frosk, inhibitor tower the target here for Schalke as they open it up down towards the bottom side. They take the inhib as well and maybe even look for the win. 15 seconds still on Jiizuke. Instead they say no, we'll do this one by the numbers. We'll go mid, we'll help out Abbedagge, we'll take that inhib as well. And it makes it so much harder for Vitality to defend, but maybe they're looking for an engage as the damage comes out from the shock blast. Mowgli has the flash, has not got the ultimate, which is why he didn't flash in. And Schalke able to disengage. They'll go back, they'll reset, and they'll look for that final tower in the top lane.
But you can see that there's still a lot of fight left for Vitality here. They do decent damage still at this point in the game. They have ample amounts of wave clear between the likes of the Jayce and the Corki. So while it is a double inhib down, and it means that Vitality are playing at the whims of Schalke because they're locked into their base, there is this tiny glimmer of hope still for Vitality fans. Otherwise, on the side of Schalke, you have everything you want. You have a massive gold lead, you have all of the key items, you have all of your ultimates back up. And I think they're just actually going to try to force for these fights because they recognize how strong they are. As soon as they get a hold of Vitality, they rip them open, they take the game.
IgNar also has his flash quickness available. Jiizuke no flash on the Corki. Makes it very hard for him to get away from that Rakan engage.
It also means that Schalke now can just 5-man stack into the top lane. Odo is preparing the wave for the rest of his team to join him, and you just let the super minions do their work in the mid and bot waves.
Last stand here for Vitality. You have to defend if you want to keep your playoff hopes alive. Schalke just pushing in 3 mid, 2 top. Now the inhibitor tower, the target. Upset off towards the bottom side of this fight. Vitality looking for the engage. Mowgli going in, but he backs away straight away.
That was
Upset takes some damage.
actually really unfortunate there for Schalke in terms of timing, because now they have to wait a pretty long time for the next wave to come in, and while that wave is coming in, Vitality are clearing out their mid lane wave. So Schalke actually aren't timing this correctly to have all 3 waves funneling simultaneously to rip Vitality around the map.
The Baron buff being off, of course, makes it a lot harder to keep his waves alive. Jiizuke with incredible wave clear. Teams up with the Crown and Projectiles, with Cabochard. Double super minions stacked up here in the bottom lane, but Upset takes a little bit of a chunk. And now he is just pushed away. The wave's not in the place for Schalke. Vitality defending, holding on to their base for the moment. You can sense it that Schalke wants something out of this, but they can't find the engage they want.
So because we're not fighting in the jungle, your eyes are on Trick and IgNar. Obviously, you need to force the engage before too much poke lays down on you, so you're relying on your Rakan and your Gragas, as well as the Gnar that's stacking up. If they're in the jungle, then Abba becomes a much higher priority in terms of starting out fights for them because you can use the Qiyana ultimate. But because Schalke fumble their wave control, they're not able to make them all crash at the same time. I actually think we might have to wait for the second rotation of Baron.
Looks like that's what's going to happen. Schalke going to get their 3rd Mountain Dragon here as Vitality just play cleanup duty in their base, try and push out those waves.
Triple Mountain.
Yep, it's very difficult for Vitality to do anything about this Baron. It will go down in a heartbeat.
It means that when the Baron spawns, Vitality have to be in position. Otherwise, they say, they're going to get the Baron anyway. It's Triple Mountain. They'll probably get there before we have an opportunity, and there's so many pick tools with the Rakan, with the Qiyana, that maybe they just sit back and just wait for Schalke to come charging into the base with the Baron.
Seems like that might be the case. Vitality, no vision around it at all. As expected, they have been pinned back, hemmed back in their base. The package has just been picked up by Jiizuke, and maybe Vitality will use that as the ghost signal. The starter's gun for this fight. The Baron up, 1 second left on it, and Vitality left barreling down mid. Cabochard down towards the bottom lane, has the teleport. The Scryer's alteration comes out, but already the Baron has fallen. Vitality back away. They know they have to defend. Abbedagge has the flank.
But they were split on the call. They're caught out of their base. Look at the TPs.
But Vitality could still fight. This TP's going in. Abbedagge there. The package choose by Jiizuke to get away. Upset jumps in. Straight onto Mowgli. Straight onto Attila. But Upset has the QSS. The charm coming out from IgNar is perfect. He distracts all of Vitality. And already Upset goes legendary. Attila goes golden. But he will go down in just a second's time. Upset takes 2. And Vitality only had 3 left to defend versus the entire squad of Schalke.
Vitality couldn't decide. Were they going to check for the Baron? They decided against it, but they were caught outside of their base. The TPs were used to get behind them. And now Odo looking to end it.
Jiizuke flashes away. Odo goes in with the wallop, but he's going to fall pretty quickly. Jactroll stunned up for the second. Jiizuke's gone down. The GA popped on Cabochard, and there is no hope left. There is not a man that can survive that. Vitality fall. Schalke clean them, and Schalke book their spot against Rogue next week.
And a much cleaner game this time around in game number 4. Schalke take what feels like kind of a long-awaited revenge.
Yep.
Vitality have been a thorn in their side before, and this time around they leapfrog over them and go towards second round of playoffs.
Vitality were the team that first denied Schalke a spot in the LCS in 2018. Schalke then had to play NIP to get through. And then they denied them a spot at Worlds last year on championship points. And now Schalke, as you say, able to fight back, able to take their revenge over this Vitality squad. It wasn't the best League of Legends I've ever seen. A little bit skirmish heavy, a little bit messy at times. There are signs in there that Schalke can take and think about how they will adapt and respond to Rogue next week.
But you got the consistency from Schalke's 2 carries. It felt like every single game, Upset and Abba were having good games.
Yep.
They were able to funnel a lot of the gold onto them. So while it got a little bit messy in there in game number 3, maybe a little bit in game number 2, at the end of the day, you had that stability of knowing that your AP carry and your AD carry are very consistent, very stable players.
And of course, commiserations to Vitality. They're not only out of playoffs, but out of Worlds contention with this loss as well. They do not have the championship points needed to get through. It's with a heavy heart we see them go, but I'm sure they will return in 2020 stronger than ever.
Yeah, it's always a heartbreaker when you see a crowd favorite like Vitality go out. It just feels like there's so much emotion and attachment to this team in terms of sentiment. Unfortunately, their problems seem pretty glaring, and there's a lot of holes to patch up.
Yep.
They've got a lot of time to do so, and I just hope that we continue to see this roster stick together and see these, what were the 5 rookies, now 4 rookies, go the distance.
There's lobby again. Oh, okay, sure, I can go. Yeah.
I hope so too, Frosk. It's always disheartening to see such a team fall out, but Schalke on the day were the better team. Of course, they have been the better team throughout the split as well, I think we can say. Vitality, of course, only making it into playoffs through a tiebreaker over SK, where Schalke have only gone from strength to strength, I think. Seeing how well they performed coming into the second half of the split, a lot of their fans will be pretty confident with them playing up against Rogue next week.
Yeah, crash course with Rogue. Now, the thing is, I do want to talk about this guy on your screen right now in Odo. Odo is a great job at playing weak side. We don't see him get a lot of resources from Schalke. Trick usually spends his team playing through mid lane, and then they use that power with Abbedagge to rotate into bottom lane, which means that Odo gets the short end of the stick, not only in draft phase, but usually in execution. And against Rogue, he's going to be playing against a guy like Finn.
Yeah.
And Finn sometimes gets a lot of resources, likes to play those carries. So I'm curious what type of game plan that Schalke have, or if Odo's just strong enough that he can absorb the pressure from Finn.
It's interesting with Finn because we do talk about how he gets a lot of time from his jungler, but he actually tends to be behind in CS and behind in terms of gold at the 15-minute mark. So maybe someone like Odo who can absorb that pressure will actually be able to come out ahead in that 1v1 match.
I mean, that's what we thought about Chachi, but...
Yeah. Didn't go too well for Chachi yesterday. However, today it went okay for Odo. He lost out on every lane. Cabochard was pretty dominant in some of those matchups, even without too much jungle pressure, but Odo was still able to have the impact in the later game team fights, which is just the way, the bread and butter of Schalke at the moment. Their team fighting seems strong still. I'm slightly concerned if they play up against someone like Fnatic or G2 that they'll just get beaten through side lane pressure.
Yes, but you know, it's always going to be a question that maybe Schalke opted into that idea because you're against a team like Vitality. They're going to force you to fight anyway, and when Vitality say go, you like have to be reactionary to them.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I'm curious what type of form we'll see from Schalke on Rogue. I still feel that I need more tape to judge from this team, but today was a little bit Wild West for me.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. If you want to get involved in Kia Player of the Series, you can go on over to Twitter at lolesports and vote for Abbedagge, Upset, or IgNar. That's actually a super tough one.
I do want to give a shout out to the 2 players not on that list in Trick and Odo. Like I said, I think Odo does a phenomenal job sacrificing a lot for his team in draft phase as well as on the Rift. And Trick is everything in this early game and how he sets up Abba for success.
So we're giving it to Abbedagge, is that what you're saying? I'm pretty sure that's what you're saying.
Justice for
He's also
supports.
sitting over there ready for an interview with Law, so I think you have to say. We're going to give it to Abbedagge. Law, we're going to hand it over to you with Abbedagge and IgNar.